The church says all is forgiven, and his first sermon is set for next Sunday. And NFL star Saquon Barkley is turning down President Trump's offer to join in a sports and fitness council. The Eagles running back says he was shocked by the invite but can't commit due to time constraints. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Is your concrete cracking? Is your uneven walkway dangerous? Do you need to level that concrete porch or patio? Contact Groundworks, the concrete lifting experts. Riverside, get your free inspection today. Learn more at groundworks.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Just in case Lakers fans were wondering, LeBron James did reach out to Luka Doncic to congratulate him on his contract extension. LeBron did a video call with Doncic while Doncic was signing a new 3-year deal for $165 million. LeBron and Luka would get a chance to play an entire season together. The Lakers were 16-7 last season when LeBron and Luka were on the court. Chargers linebacker Denzel Perryman is out of jail after spending the weekend locked up for having 5 guns in his car, including 2 assault-style rifles. The 32-year-old Perryman was released late Monday afternoon. Perryman was stopped by Inglewood police on Friday for having expired tags on his car. He was scheduled to appear at the Inglewood courthouse Tuesday morning, but LA County District Attorney Nathan Hochman decided not to file charges. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Give people what they want.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we aim to foster enlightening, sustainable, restorative dialogue, and we welcome unapologetically progressive viewpoints that empower fellow citizens. We are now accepting submissions for KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorials like this one.
For the KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorial, I'm Martin Gordon, chair of the Pasadena Community Coalition. Recently, I listened to a Tavis Smiley show conversation with James Farr. James said something that caught me off guard. Black Altadena is gone. My community is being murdered. I said murdered.
All you have to do is go to our website homepage at KBLA1580.com and click on the icon that says KBLA Guest Editorials to learn more about our editorial standards and content submission guidelines. As long as the topic aligns with our mission, we are happy to review your submission and consider it for broadcast. We can't make any promises, but we want to amplify progressive perspectives that are community-focused and solution-oriented. So, go to KBLA1580.com right now to download all the information you need about our guest editorials. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Live from historic Lorraine Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavisSmileyShow.com. That's thetavisSmileyShow.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, 2 conversations. Up first, we'll talk with our regular contributor, George Mason University professor Dr. Michael Fontroy, about the fate of his institution's first black president, Dr. Gregory Washington, who is apparently in Donald Trump's crosshairs over, guess what? Wait for it. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Some worry that the first black president of George Mason University, that is, rather, could soon face pressure from President Trump to resign his position. So we'll talk about that with Michael Fontroy on the top side of hour two. On the B side of hour two, Basil Watson reveals the inspiration behind his sculpture of an escaped slave and South Carolina lawmaker named Robert Smalls, which will become the first statue of a black American, I should say, inside the South Carolina State House. In our third hour conversation with Marique Moss about her delicious new book called Sweetgrass and Soul Food, a memoir in poems, a book which comes with its own soundtrack, no less. In the book, Moss invites us to consider the meaning of Afro-Indigenous identity and resilience in a cultural moment where diversity is being rejected. But in this first hour, two more conversations on the B side of this hour. Victoria Chege is one of the thousands of federal employees who were laid off via email back in February. She has been documenting her unemployment journey online, and her TikTok protest videos are gaining a lot of traction. So we'll talk to her on the B side of this hour. All that said, we commence today's show talking politics with Georgia Democratic Congressman Hank Johnson. Congressman Johnson, good to have you back on the program, sir. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Tavis. Great to be with you again.
It's good to hear your voice again. Let me jump right into it, make the most of the time that we have. I think I want to start with this because this story is starting to trend. I've seen a number of articles over the last 48 hours about this, and it's simply this. Unemployment among black Americans is always, or certainly can be, an early sign of economic strain, and the numbers with regard to black unemployment are rising significantly. I'm not one that likes to throw a bunch of numbers out on radio that can be hard to process. Let me just give you a couple of numbers, though, about why these numbers matter. And it's not just because black folk are taking it on the chin, but because, again, it is an early sign of economic strain, an early sign potentially of a recession about to hit our economy. You know the old adage, when they get a cold, we get pneumonia. And so the symptoms of a bad economy always seem to show up first inside of black America. The unemployment rate for black Americans hit 7.2% in July. That's up from 6.3% a year ago and 6.8% the month prior. A year ago, in the Biden era, black unemployment at this same time was 6.3%. Now it's at 7.2%. Black women in particular have seen a dramatic increase in unemployment over the past year from 5.5% to 6.3%. Never mind a black woman coming this close to being president of the United States. Black women writ large have seen their unemployment numbers rise over the last year from 5.5 to 6.3. I repeat once again that whenever you see black unemployment go this high, when it's raising this swiftly, this exponentially, it's a sign of not something so good in the future. So, Congressman, I ask what you make of these rising numbers and what it might be indicating about where this economy is headed.
Yeah, it's no doubt that things are getting tight with this economy. Things are getting bad. The economy is devolving into recession. Now, recession is 2 straight quarters of negative economic growth in the GDP. We did have that first quarter of 2025 that was at a negative rate of growth. The figures that were just released last week for the second quarter show a modest increase in the GDP, somewhere around 1.2, I forget exactly what it was, percent growth. But my prediction is that this next quarter, this quarter that we're in now, we're going to not have any economic growth because the tariffs and the inflation rate is going to be going up. And the cost of living is going to be going up. while at the same time businesses are cutting back because of the uncertainty involved with the tariffs and the rising cost of living. So they are going to be cutting back, which means jobs are going to be going to continue to be lost in the private sector, while at the same time this Doge effort, that was led by Elon Musk, has cut hundreds of thousands of federal jobs. And we know that Black people make up large numbers of those who were fired in this Doge effort under Elon Musk. And so, we're catching it on the chin in terms of unemployment in both the public and the private sector.
Yeah.
And all of that is just an indication that the economy is starting to get bad.
Let me put a number on that right quick, and we'll continue when we come forward. Overall, Black Americans account for 18% of the federal workforce, compared to 12% of the overall workforce. So 18% of the federal workforce, 12% of the overall workforce, so that Black employees, as the Congressman just said, make up a larger share of the federal workforce than anybody else, proportionately, and an even larger share at some of these agencies that have been hit the hardest under these Doge cuts that he referenced: the Department of Education, USAID, Health and Human Services. That's where most of these Black people tend to work, and so there's a direct link between the rise in Black unemployment and these job cuts within the federal government. Just getting started with Congressman Hank Johnson out of Georgia. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening.
Charitable listening.
It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Are you wet shaving? You'll get razor bumps.
Nah, Pops. I'm good with Gillette Skin Guard. How long you been growing that beard Mama hates anyway?
Since 77. I shaved and got ingrown so bad.
That's why I use the Gillette Skin Guard razor, face scrub, shave gel, and moisturizer. So I don't have to worry about new razor bumps or shaving irritation.
Gillette Skin Guard, huh? Your mama's gonna love this one.
The best a man can get keeps getting better with Gillette Skin Guard. Buy now at a retailer near you.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33 and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yay, yay!
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than Saquon Barkley, the NFL's reigning leading rusher. I'm also the NFL's leading husher. Shh, hush up back there. Wow, I might have just set the hushing record. Well, almost. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Hank Johnson, member of Congress, Democrat out of Georgia, of course. We've been talking for a few moments here about the black unemployment rate. Why? Because it is always the first to go up. Put another way, that black fellow citizens are always the canary in the coal mine. And so when you look at the way that the black unemployment numbers are rising pretty steadily and frankly rather starkly, it gives you a sense that the labor market is starting to slow down. And again, following black labor market indicators gives you a sense, or would have given you a sense a few months ago, that this story was coming. I find this fascinating, Congressman, because I've said this any number of times, that we see these numbers again suggesting that we may be headed toward a recession. And yet Donald Trump was elected because people thought he'd be a better steward of the economy, sir.
Well, that's true. He said, he promised that he would create an economy that worked for the little guy, that lowered costs. And but I'll tell you this about Donald Trump. The day he got into office, he issued an executive order pretty much changing the way that the federal government goes about enforcing our anti-discrimination laws. And you and I know, Tavis, that racism is alive and well in all facets of society, including hiring and employment, education, healthcare, housing, all of those indicators. There's still racism at work. And so when President Trump came in and said, we're not going to enforce the civil rights laws, that was like a clarion call to all of the racist employers out there, that instead of being guided by anti-discrimination laws, it's open season. You can hire your sons and your daughters and their friends and relatives, and you can do away with all those black folks out there, bring in your folks. And we have taken it on the chin. And at the same time, he issued executive orders not enforcing the civil rights laws. He issues other orders that purport to restore what he calls, merit-based hiring and merit-based opportunity, and so-called restoring equality of opportunity. So in other words, he's turned the civil rights laws against black people who they were meant to protect, and instead is protecting white privilege from being discriminated against by those black folks who are coming along to take your job. So he did a bait and switch on the black people who voted for him, and more black people voted for Trump than the Republicans than any time in recent history. And that's something that we're going to have to reverse. And I think when people feel it in the pocketbooks that they were lied to and deceived, there's one choice that they can make, and that is to come back to the party that is in their best interest, and that is the Democratic Party.
Let me follow you. I'm watching my timer. I got about 10 or 12 minutes left here. A few more things I want to cover. So we got some good time here. But let me go here first, since you went there. We have discussed this, as you might imagine, on this program any number of times. So you're right about the fact that more black people have voted for Donald Trump every time he's run. Many of us voted, too many of us, to my mind, voted for him in 2016. More Negroes voted for him in 2020, and even more voted for him in 2024. The number of black voters supporting Donald Trump has risen every single time he has run. And yet I find myself, like almost weekly on this program, adding to the list of things that Donald Trump has done that I find not just to be legitimate grievances on the part of black people, but Donald Trump essentially pushing an agenda that is antithetical, Congressman, to the best interest of black people. That list is a long list. As I say, it's growing every single day, from all the pushback on DE&I to the layoffs of black federal workers, which again is one of the primary causes of the rise in this black unemployment rate, to trying to, put upon the Blacksonian, the Black Museum in Washington, to doing away with police accountability in cities where they're killing black people like Memphis and Louisville, and the list is too long. Minneapolis to put out right now. The list just goes on and on and on and on. Banning books in certain schools, and now we add to that long list unemployment going through the roof right now. So since you went there again, let me follow you. What's your message right now to those black people who did in fact vote for Donald Trump? It's like, what are you waiting for for you to acknowledge that you made a huge mistake?
Well, I tell you, we've got to welcome our brothers and sisters back. We've got to let them know, Tavis, that as a Democrat, I'm a Democrat. We're not going to take you for granted anymore. We're going to send you a message loud and clear that your votes are more important to us than us going after segments of the population that historically don't vote for us. So we're going to start paying attention to you, since you are our most loyal voters, and we're going to start passing legislation that addresses your concerns. We're going to stop piddling around when it comes to HR 40, reparation. This bill is not about establishing an account out of which black folks are going to be able to get white folks' money. No, this is just simply a study of how we can bring reparation to a community that needs it. You have taken care of a lot of other communities, the Japanese, the Jews, so many others who have been shorted and abused by this system, and we have restored them. And black folks deserve that also. And so the least we can do is to start passing legislation that has a positive impact on our lives, and that shows that the party that we support supports us. And so there are other things in addition to HR 40. That's just that's like the number one symbolic issue that needs to be addressed by the Democrats once we come back to power. But everything having to do with education and healthcare, all of the disparities in terms of employment, job opportunities, business opportunities, financial literacy, equity in terms of the financial arena, so that we can start getting our ideas monetized, our businesses adequately financed. There's so many ways that Democrats can appeal to our base, and we need to start doing that instead of ignoring that base in a futile attempt to attract folks who are never going to vote for us.
Let me ask you this. You mentioned HR 40. Let me add to that list right quick, and I'd be remiss to not ask you this, given that you are a Democrat out of Georgia, as was John Lewis, the late, great John Lewis, for many, many years. So we know that the Voting Rights Act is now at 60 years since this seminal piece of legislation was passed. That's fundamentally changed the country as we know it. We also know that the Voting Rights Act is under attack. We know that Democrats in the Biden era you said piddling around with this debate about the filibuster, and as a result, the George Floyd Policing Act didn't go anywhere. The Voting Rights Act did not get strengthened during the Biden era. I ain't got time to debate where I am on that filibuster issue and how I think Joe Biden should have set that aside and found a way around this. But here we are, 60 years after the Voting Rights Act, and the measure that bears John Lewis's name out of Georgia is still sitting there. What say you 60 years later?
Well, it's under relentless and sustained attack in the United States Supreme Court. We've got a 6-3 super MAGA majority on the United States Supreme Court, and it appears to be hell-bent on destroying the remainder of the Voting Rights Act, Section 2. Mm-hmm. And And so we're going to have to change our Supreme Court. That's why I've got legislation that would impose term limits on Supreme Court justices, 18-year term limits, and it would be retroactive, meaning that the first person that would come off the Supreme Court is its longest serving member, and that is none other than your friend, Justice Clarence Thomas.
Yeah.
And then following him would be our good friend, Justice Alito.
Yeah.
And then Justice Roberts would follow behind him. And so every 2 years, there would be a rotation off of the United States Supreme Court of justices who had served their maximum 18 years. Those justices would then go into senior status. They would still be Supreme Court justices, but they'd go into senior status, and a new justice would be appointed to replace them on active status. And that way we would weed out this corruption that has taken hold within the Supreme Court, and also the ideological rigidity that has set in, putting us back in time to the minds of the framers of the Constitution, who, by the way, did not have the freedom of Black folks at the top of their minds, but yet these justices want to impose a judicial philosophy upon us of trying to go back into the mind of the framers of the Constitution in order to determine what their intent was in as they go about determining what is constitutional today.
Yeah.
So it's just so the rigidity of that ideology
is
something that needs to be weeded out of the Supreme Court as well, and term limits would accomplish that.
I love that idea.
Well as a code of conduct that is binding and enforceable.
Yeah, they don't have either. They have no term limits and no code of conduct, as you well know. So I'd welcome both, not either or, but both and. I've got 2 or 3 minutes left here. I want to just give you, speaking of your legislation, close on this note of a hip-hop celebration day, a measure that you've introduced. Tell me about that right quick, Congressman.
Well, the National Hip Hop Celebration Day celebrates a day for a cultural form that is unique to this country. It transcends race, language, age, geographic boundaries. It's worldwide. It has it influences our fashion, our even what we eat and drink, and that is hip hop, America's most popular, really the world's most popular music genre. It's hip hop, and hip hop goes back to August 11th of 1973 in the Bronx, New York, where DJ Kool Herc, with a unique DJing technique, started hip hop, and hip hop commenced on that particular day, August 11th of 1973, 2 years ago, as we get towards this coming Monday.
Yeah.
And so, National Hip Hop Celebration Day celebrates the anniversary of the first hip hop performance and the advent of this unique American cultural tradition. And it's something that we Black people created.
Yep.
And we sustain it. Now everybody else is doing it. Yeah. And that's and I'm proud of that. I know many of us, we have led the way before in terms of jazz, gospel music, blues, all of the culture, all of the genres that we enjoy derive from Black music. We are the trendsetters, and so we deserve to be recognized. And National Hip Hop Day, National Hip Hop Celebration Day, is recognition of that cultural contribution to America.
You made the case. It is amazing when you think about it that America's greatest exports have come from the Black community. As you laid out, jazz and blues and gospel and hip-hop, we gave all that to the world. You travel anywhere in the world, and people recognize America by its music, but those are contributions made, grand contributions made by people who look just like Hank Johnson, me, and you. Hank Johnson, representative out of Georgia, Democrat. Always pleased to have him on this program. Congressman, thanks for your time. Thanks for your work and witness, sir. Good to have you on this program.
Thank you, Tavis. Thanks for spreading the word out there, getting it done, keeping us all knowledgeable with real, truthful information. Thank you.
Doing the best we can, sir. Thank you, sir, for being there. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
Why does Tavis say when we come forward? Because he's not going back. And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump has fired Bureau of Labor Statistics Chief Erica McIntyre after a weak July jobs report. Senator Alex Padilla wonders who will be the replacement.
Will this be another yes person for the president that's going to be more interested in propaganda than statistics?
The president accused her of manipulating data for political reasons, though offered no evidence. Martin Latchman, a 38-year-old black British man, died in Turkey after falling ill during prep for a hair transplant at a well-known clinic. Authorities are investigating possible reckless homicide. The clinic says the procedure hadn't started and all tests were done. And artist Machine Gun Kelly says he turned down a role in Ryan Coogler's vampire film Sinners after learning the script required him to say the N-word. He was set to audition for the role of Bert, a KKK member turned vampire. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Is your concrete cracking? Is your uneven walkway dangerous? Do you need to level that concrete porch or patio? Contact Groundworks, the concrete lifting experts. Riverside, get your free inspection today. Learn more at groundworks.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Just in case Lakers fans were wondering, LeBron James did reach out to Luka Doncic to congratulate him on his contract extension. LeBron did a video call with Doncic while Doncic was signing a new 3-year deal for $165 million. LeBron and Luka would get a chance to play an entire season together. The Lakers were 16-7 last season when LeBron and Luka were on the court. Chargers linebacker Denzel Perryman is out of jail after spending the weekend locked up for having 5 guns in his car, including 2 assault-style rifles. The 32-year-old Perryman was released late Monday afternoon. Perryman was stopped by Inglewood police on Friday for having expired tags on his car. He was scheduled to appear at the Inglewood courthouse Tuesday morning, but LA County District Attorney Nathan Hochman decided not to file charges. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, please visit fvgradio.com. If you want a 100% complimentary stay at a luxury resort in Cancun, airfare not included, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise. See website for complete details. We're giving away 5 days and 4 nights to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it? Call now, 800-868-6431, 800-868-6431. You're also eligible for an exciting bonus vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $498. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $498. What are you waiting for? Call 800-868-6431, 800-868-6431, and give us your answer. The proceeding is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways and not sponsored by this program or its affiliates.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
It does indeed. In case you've just tuned in, we started today's show talking with Hank Johnson, member of Congress, Democrat out of Georgia, African American, talking about a number of things, including how the unemployment rate for African Americans is skyrocketing. And that is a sign, as I said earlier, we are always the canary in the coal mine when it comes to economic policy in this country and the impact it's having on everyday people. So when you see these black unemployment numbers start to inch up like they are for African Americans, that's a sign that the economy is headed in the wrong direction. It is true that the unemployment rate for white, Asian, Hispanic, and Latino workers has also ticked up as well since July. So the unemployment's up for everybody, but for black people, it is significantly up. And again, that is a sign that the economy is headed in the wrong direction. One of the reasons why that number is increasing so dramatically is because of these federal government layoffs, these job cuts in the federal government, given that African Americans make up a significant share of the federal workforce. So just having that conversation moments ago with Congressman Hank Johnson out of Georgia. Now comes Victoria Chege, one of the thousands of federal employees who were in fact laid off via email, no less, last February, to talk about her TikTok protest videos and how they are gaining traction with viewers all across the country, indeed around the world. Victoria, good to have you on the program. How are you today?
I'm great, Tavis. Thank you for having me.
It's my great delight to have you on the program. Take me back to February and tell me what happened.
Sure. It was the day after Valentine's Day. It was February 15th. A lot of people were referring to it as the Valentine's Day massacre. And I received my email on a Saturday, actually. But earlier in the week, it was when RFK Jr. was confirmed as HHS secretary, and they started doing layoffs at the CDC. So I didn't have a good feeling. I had a strong feeling that my time was coming. So I was checking my email all weekend, and then Saturday I saw an email from an email address I've actually never seen before. It was some vague non-personal email address letting me know that I was terminated due to performance reasons and that my skills and abilities were no longer needed for federal service, which was really interesting because I've only been in that role for about 7 weeks and I hadn't even had a performance review yet. And the small feedback I got during that time was all positive. So I was really confused. And then I started connecting with other colleagues, other people getting the email within my agency as well, and realized we all got the same identical email.
Yeah, that's one of the downsides of AI, right? When AI writes your letter for you, it says things and accuses you of things you ain't even done yet. Such as AI. When it works, it works. When it doesn't work, you can be chagrined by the way it puts upon people. That said, tell me before I jump too fast here, too fast and too furious. Tell me about what you were doing specifically. What agency were you with? Where were you?
Sure. I was at the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services,
Mm-hmm.
which is housed in the Department of Health and Human Services. And I was a management and program analyst over there.
Yeah.
And particularly, I was working on the CLIA program, which is the Clinical Laboratory Improvement Amendments Program. And it's basically a regulatory program that regulates laboratory testing all over the country that tests human specimens. So, for example, if you go to the doctor and they say that they have to collect a blood sample and send it off to a lab, those labs that do the testing on human samples have to be CLIA certified. And to be certified means that the lab is subject to being inspected. Personnel at the labs that conduct higher complexity tests have to do competency assessments. There's a complaint system. If you have an issue with the lab, anyone can file a complaint. And this team I was working on, they'll go out to the lab and conduct an investigation. Really just make sure that everyone's getting quality testing and that we can ensure that there's accurate and reliable testing when we go to the doctor.
Yep. Let me talk about the two things you said, then I'll push forward. You mentioned that you hadn't even been there long enough to have a performance review at this point. So how did you process a letter telling you were being let go because your performance wasn't up to par?
Yeah, I obviously knew that was not true. So after doing some digging around, so I was a probationary worker, which means in the private sector, people tend to think probationary means that I did something wrong and then I was placed on a probationary plan. But in the federal sector, that means that I was a new hire. So anyone who was hired in the last years, for some roles, I believe it's up to 2 years, you're in this probationary period, just meaning that it's basically a trial to make sure that you're fit for the role. And also probationary workers could be people who were promoted. So if they were with some agency for 10, 20 years and they were doing so well, they're promoted to a higher position, they are now placed again in that probationary period to make sure they're fit for the role. And so once I saw that on my termination letter, that it was due to performance reasons and that it was all the probationary workers who were getting this identical letter, I realized that they had to list that as the reason in order to terminate all of us in a mass manner.
Mm-hmm. I don't mean to make you political, but I'm just curious, and if you don't have thoughts on this, no problem. I got more questions. Trust and believe. This is what I do every day. But since you mentioned where you work, I wonder if you have any opinion, any thoughts about the way in which the Medicaid program is being put upon by Donald Trump. We talk about it all the time on this program. Everybody's talking about the ways in which persons who rely on Medicaid are going to be hurt and harmed, and frankly, people are going to die as a result of the legislation that Donald Trump has passed. But since you were working in this Medicaid adjacent space, any thoughts about the assault on Medicaid, as it were?
Yeah. I'm sure many have heard about what's going on with this big, beautiful bill that was passed and all of the billions and billions of dollars that would be cut to Medicaid services and SNAP services. And this is really going to affect millions of people across the country. And many people really don't realize to what extent Medicare and Medicaid, not only the people who are recipients of it, but like for my program that I worked on at CMS, we were not a particularly Medicaid or Medicare program, but any lab that receives Medicare and Medicaid payments has to be CLIA certified, which is why this program was housed in CMS. So even if you're not someone who relies on Medicaid when you go to the doctor, if these labs are no longer getting these Medicare and Medicaid payments, then they cannot do their lab tests as efficiently, making sure they have high quality. So not only of all the thousands of recipients across the country are going to be affected by this, but others who don't even realize that the way Medicaid and Medicare is embedded into so many systems that they might be affected as well.
Okay, so now give me the lay the groundwork for me, and I'll build upon it. But lay the groundwork for me for the when, where, why, and how you decided to start documenting your unemployment journey.
Sure. Prior to being terminated, I was posting some videos here and there, and I posted one video about the DRP, that deferred resignation program that a lot of the federal workers, I believe all federal workers, got the email offering them an opportunity to opt out of federal work and get a severance package basically. So I posted a video about that. I got a lot of traction. So once I was terminated, I thought, let me share this story as well. And so I was doing my makeup in the video, and I really didn't think twice. Once I saw the email, it was the next day that I was like, let me make a video about this while I'm at it. And I did not expect it to blow up as much as it did. But once it did blow up, the following videos I posted were just a bunch of resources for federal workers, giving more people updates, making sure that a lot of people knew what kind of resources they had. This is many people's first time being in a position of unemployment, so they don't even know what they can qualify for, getting Medicaid themselves, getting on SNAP. There was a lot of lawsuits during that time of people trying to gather federal workers and have people share their stories and everything. everything. And so I really just wanted to make sure that people had these resources, and also people knew that they were not alone. And when I first posted my initial video, I had hundreds of comments of people saying, I got my email yesterday, I got my email a couple of days later. And so I was really happy to create a space for people to know that they're not alone. There's a lot of people going through this at the same time.
I want to talk about that community when we come forward. Victoria Chege had the good sense to start documenting her unemployment journey via TikTok, and the response has been absolutely overwhelming. We'll talk more about it when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on! Give people what they want.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we aim to foster enlightening, sustainable, restorative dialogue, and we welcome unapologetically progressive viewpoints that empower fellow citizens. We are now accepting submissions for KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorials like this one.
With the KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorial, I'm Martin Gordon, chair of the Pasadena Community Coalition. Recently, I listened to a Tavis Smiley show conversation with James Farr. James said something that caught me off guard. Black out the Dina is gone. My community is being murdered. I said murdered.
All you have to do is go to our website homepage at KBLA1580.com and click on the icon that says KBLA Guest Editorials to learn more about our editorial standards and content submission guidelines. As long as the topic aligns with our mission, we are happy to review your submission and consider it for broadcast. We can't make any promises, but we want to amplify progressive perspectives that are community-focused and solution-oriented. So, go to KBLA1580.com right now to download all the information you need about our guest editorials. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
BET and PBS, the Tom Joyner Morning Show, and NPR, the cover of Jet and the cover of Time. #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list, 20 honorary doctorate degrees, a dozen NAACP Image Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. From talk shows to talk radio, nobody's ever done it better. You like that? This is Tavis Smiley.
You gotta dip your chicken strips. Hey, this is Kiani.
And this is Tabitha.
And a little thing we love about Chick-fil-A chicken strips
is all the different sauces we can dip them in. I like to line up all my favorite sauces so that in every bite, I have a different flavor. Then with the tenderness of the chicken, the juiciness of it, it's all there.
And for me, I like to mix my sauces so I get a little tang and I get a little sweetness all in one bite.
That's what makes it for me. That's what does it for me.
That's what I'm saying.
It's the summer of Chick-fil-A chicken strips and sauces. Order now on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Victoria Chege, who is one of the thousands of federal workers who were laid off via email earlier this year, in February to be exact, and she went to documenting her unemployment journey, and the response was overwhelming. The sheer number of people responding and sharing their own stories was quite phenomenal. Were you at all surprised, Victoria, by the community, and I use that word because you use it, I think it's a great word, the community that you helped to gestate, essentially?
Yeah, definitely. During this time, I really feel like going through unemployment is really a period of turmoil, regardless of if everyone's going through it at once or if you're going through it alone. So I really feel like having others that were, experiencing the same thing, knowing what resources are available to you, that's just really helpful during such a time of uncertainty.
Mm-hmm. And what kinds of comments and posts were you receiving from those persons who were tapping into your TikTok videos?
Yeah, a lot of them were overwhelmingly positive. A lot of people saying how sorry they are, really just saying how they knew this would happen with the new administration, and just really condemning the way that the administration went about such mass layoffs. But there was also a group of people who were leaving some negative comments and sharing their negative sentiments about government workers, saying how the government workforce is too bloated and inefficient, and some people were saying they were happy that I was terminated. I don't think that is personal to me, but just in general, federal workers being terminated. I really think that the tagline that Musk and Trump were trying to push of waste, fraud, and abuse was really sticking with a lot of people, and it really made me made me realize how many people fail to realize that there are hardly ever headlines about when things run smoothly. So when people think about poor experiences with government workers, they're thinking about wait lines at the DMV or maybe their tax returns take too long to come. But people don't think about when they're going to the doctor and getting an accurate blood sample or opening the weather app and seeing an accurate forecast. People always tend to notice the negative. So I didn't take those comments too personally.
Good. You didn't take them personally, but did you engage anybody? But did you engage those kinds of responses?
Not at all, actually.
Yeah.
I just know that people leaving those kinds of comments, I just see it as you have something else going on in your life. This is not a personal attack on me. You just have your own burdens. So I just left them alone.
No, I get it. No naivete with regard to this question, but were you at all surprised by the power that TikTok had to really move this story?
Yeah, definitely. I was surprised again when I made my original video with letting people know that I was unemployed, and it got over 1 million views, and that led to a lot of news outlets reaching out to me, and I was featured on some segments, and during that, especially from like February to April, when there was a lot of these layoffs happening at once, I feel like people were definitely talking about it, but hearing personal stories from people who are actually affected, real people who are actual employees that are going through this, I think it really helped to personify it and it really spread the message further.
Okay. Did you get a sense of the impact of or the presence of the response of Black people in particular? I asked that because you heard me say earlier, we know that the unemployment numbers are rising in Black America precisely and primarily because so many thousands and thousands of people have been laid off from the federal government as a result of this Doge process. The same thing that got you caught up. So were you aware? Did you notice the significant number of Black respondents?
Yeah, definitely. Especially in my comments, I definitely noticed a high number of Black women who were responding. Sure. And, Black people make up almost 20% of the federal workforce, and more than half of that being women in comparison to the overall nationwide workforce, where Black people make up a little more than 10%. So we are really represented in a significant way in the federal workforce. And, Black people are the only demographic who have that high representation of federal workforce compared to the national workforce. So I was definitely, seeing it, and the people that were commenting, and even people that I engaged with who were also terminated federal workers, and definitely I really noticed how this is really affecting the Black community.
Let me put some numbers on that. 300,000 plus Black women have left the labor force over the past few months. I'll repeat that. Over 300,000 Black women in particular have left the labor force over the last few months. Black women's unemployment is rising. And as I said earlier, economists see that as a warning sign. Black unemployment is up across the board, but it's hitting Black women in particular at this very moment. And so those are numbers to keep our eye on. As I say for the third time now, we are always the canary in the coal mine. I digress on that. When we come forward, we'll see what Victoria's up to these days. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LAC-JCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project.
Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Victoria Chege. All right, Victoria, you got your email on a Saturday back in February. You started posting these videos. A couple questions here. Are you still doing TikTok videos now?
I am. Not as frequently, but I have definitely been posting on TikTok still. A lot of the time it's some stuff to do with federal workers and what's still going on, and then other just, public policy stuff that gets passed and how it affects many different communities, Black communities, low income communities. And I really just enjoy sharing policy information and interpreting it for people in a way that's really digestible.
Yep. And so tell me what you're up to these days. Again, the letter came in February. This is August now. You still searching?
I am still searching. When I was terminated back in February, because of all the lawsuits that were happening, I was placed on administrative leave for a while, me and thousands of other people. So I was getting paid for months actually after I was terminated, but that stopped not too long ago. And so I'm definitely still searching for a role. And, it's, again, with the high number of unemployment for Black people, Black women in particular too, and a lot of public health roles, which is where I worked in. So it's been really hard to find a job, honestly, right now. But thankfully, I have a strong support system around me, so things are okay for me.
Yeah. What do you make of the fact? Let me back up and say I'm delighted to hear that you and these other federal workers were at least paid for months after your sudden firing for performance reasons, which was a joke, as we established earlier in this conversation. So I'm glad that you had that money coming in for a few months after February. But how do you process the fact that Elon Musk and Donald Trump come in and just start laying people off, no real plan here, and that our taxpayer dollars are going to pay for these thousands of workers who, frankly, for months weren't doing anything?
Yeah, and again, they were doing it under the guise of waste, fraud, and abuse, just for having a whole bunch of thousands of people still getting paid for months of not doing work. So it's really how who's really being wasteful now, who's really being inefficient. So to me, that's honestly it's almost comical to the fact that the reason that they were doing it and how it ended up playing out. So. I just feel like that's just an example of how inefficient and how they went about it in such a horrible way. In decades prior, there's been a lot of federal workers who were terminated, but they got severance packages. It was done over the course of numerous years, and so getting rid of federal workers isn't a new idea, but the way they did it just so quickly and so without a plan, it's really evident in the way it's played out.
Yep. Just because I'm curious, and I suspect others listening right now are curious as well. So what are you looking for? What's your dream job right now?
Yeah. So again, me working in public health, I really realized over the years that I am just really interested in working for the people and working in private corporations. Oftentimes, to me, something like health should not be something that's for profit, because if you're doing things for profit, odds are someone's being exploited. So when it comes to public health, I particularly do not want a private role. I'm really more interested in nonprofits or really small private companies, because federal government is no longer an option for me. And even I'm interested in state and local government jobs as well. But with a lot of the contracts that were cut to state and local governments, a lot of them were public health contracts. So even there, the roles are slim and few. So we'll see what happens.
All right, y'all, if you're listening across the country right now and you got some work for Victoria, you see what she's looking for. Y'all know how to contact me. I'm the easiest guy in the world to find. Go to my socials, contact me at my station here in LA. If you are in that space, she's impressive and is looking for something. I love that at 24 years of age, she has her head on straight and is clear. Nothing against the private sector, but it's clear what she wants to do to love and serve everyday people. I love that she's so clear-headed and bright-eyed about that. So if you're listening and you got anything for Victoria in the public sector space, the foundation space, y'all get at me. Victoria, thank you for coming on the program. Thank you for these TikTok videos. It gave a lot of people an opportunity to sort of tap in and to understand what it is that you and these workers are going through. And I love the way that you've been sharing information with all these other workers who've been laid off like you were, or downsized, I should say. So thank you for your work. And Witness, good to have you on this program.
Thank you so much, Tavis. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
All the best to you, Victoria. More Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump has fired Bureau of Labor Statistics Chief Erica McIntyre after a weak July jobs report. Senator Alex Padilla wonders who will be the replacement.
Will this be another yes person for the president that's going to be more interested in propaganda than statistics?
The president accused her of manipulating data for political reasons, though offered no evidence. Martin Latchman, a 38-year-old black British man, died in Turkey after falling ill during prep for a hair transplant at a well-known clinic. Authorities are investigating possible reckless homicide. The clinic says the procedure hadn't started and all tests were done. And artist Machine Gun Kelly says he turned down a role in Ryan Coogler's vampire film Sinners after learning the script required him to say the N-word. He was set to audition for the role of Bert, a KKK member turned vampire. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Is your concrete cracking? Is your uneven walkway dangerous? Do you need to level that concrete porch or patio? Contact Groundworks, the concrete lifting experts. Riverside, get your free inspection today. Learn more at groundworks.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Just in case Lakers fans were wondering, LeBron James did reach out to Luka Doncic to congratulate him on his contract extension. LeBron did a video call with Doncic while Doncic was signing a new 3-year deal for $165 million. LeBron and Luka would get a chance to play an entire season together. The Lakers were 16-7 last season when